Okay. Invite. We're gonna figure this out. If you all have already switched over here, copy. All right. Hey. All right.
Hold on, I'm seeing if I think there's like a delay on your YouTube channel. Okay, yeah, it's working on your YouTube channel. I'll try to.
It probably is.
I'll tell everyone in the chat. We will.
Okay. All right.
Where's Dee Dee?
There's Dee Dee. She just got in. All right,
wait.
now
Oh no, she left.
Which way? Which view did she have?
Add. Yeah. Okay.
There we
go.
Ah,
woo! Okay.
Fucking success. I hate it. We're gonna figure it out. We're gonna figure it out. We're gonna.
You all who are here. This seems a little complicated.
It is.
All right.
It's complicated. It's new, but it's also free. We're gonna fit. It took us. Remember when we did the first through Google Hangouts?
Oh my
God!
Took us about. It was awful. It took like 45 minutes.
Yeah,
that's funny.
Okay, we're doing good. It's 28 minutes. Okay, so 28 minutes.
Improvement.
Oh, the struggle. Okay.
Oh, and you actually see the chat on here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Holy shit.
Yeah, okay. You should see. Are there people commenting? Because I don't know. I don't see anything.
Well,
I see people.
There's Lady J.
Lady J's here. Michael and wait, let me write something. Let's see. Okay, wait. Let me just quickly tweet something.
Okay. Yeah, I'm about to as well.
I put on the old live that this is where we're at now.
Okay.
Okay. I think people are moving over. I put the link so they can just copy and paste it.
Thank you. Michael, you're so awesome.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Oh, there's Rosa. Hey, Rosa. Hey, Anna.
Hello. We're here. We're working. Crazy.
I can't comment.
Are you on the private? Are you on the private chat or the
live comments?
I'm on the live comments.
The live comment. Okay.
Yeah.
But it has no box at the bottom.
What?
It has no
box. No, it does. Oh, I see what you're talking about. You might have to leave the. You might have to leave the comments at the on the YouTube page or something.
I'm not on the YouTube
page. That's
crazy. Never mind then.
I'm not on YouTube.
But Michael, you were able to comment. Oh, you were commenting on the YouTube page.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, maybe I have to comment.
It's okay. We can just keep it going.
Let's
It's
just
okay.
keep it moving because this is too much. It's too much. I'm having a breakdown. I can't think. Okay, come on now. Let's get it moving. All right.
Okay.
All right. The Count of Monte Cristo. The Beast. But it was so worth it.
It was so good.
So worth it.
It was so
worth
good.
it. So good.
So
Okay,
when
so
am I the only one who finished late? For everybody who is joining in, coming into the chat,
yeah,
did anybody else
finish?
finish late? Like when I say late, I mean I finished last night.
I finished the 1st of December. Michael, when did you finish?
I finished around. When did I finish? I finished a while back. I think it was like maybe the 2nd or the 3rd.
I was getting ready to say. I think you
I
finished.
finished like right before you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the last few pages, I was like, oh, this is going to go. So I just kept going. Someone said I finished on Tuesday.
All right.
Nice.
Wait, let's see. Hola. Somebody said, oh, Jennifer said she just finished on Tuesday.
Finished on Tuesday.
Yeah, okay. So let's just talk like overall, what do you give it out of 5 stars?
6.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, I gave it 5 easily. So good.
That was fast.
They give it out of 5 stars. 6.
Yeah,
I would just add an extra star
for me. It's all stars still for me.
Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, it's Tiffany.
Let's go with what do you call it? Characters. Okay, so this book, of course, had a slew of characters. But who was your favorite? Name 2 of your favorite characters.
Oh, go ahead. You go first.
2 favorites?
Yeah.
Okay. So one of my favorites was actually de Villefort.
Oh, Villefort, yeah.
He was one of my favorites.
Okay.
Hi, lady. And then for the other, I really don't know. There were others. I will say, of all of the host of characters, I expected when I finished this that Dantes was gonna be like my favorite character because he's the one y'all know I love the bench story. He was not my favorite character.
No, he wasn't my favorite
there were
either.
a few characters, and there were other characters that had like their height moments. Like I love their height moments in the book. Like the whole share out situation when oh shoot, I need to, because it's not Danglars' wife. It's the one who, it is Danglars' wife, who had the affair, with Debray, with Lucien. When she went to Lucien after all of that, and the readout that he gave her, like, nah, boo, here your money.
Yeah.
Deuces.
Yeah. Oh, that was funny. I'm out. Yeah.
That whole scene.
Yeah. He said, well, you weren't that
scene.
You weren't that interesting before, but here's the money and I'm out. Yeah.
Yo, I read that scene twice.
Yeah, it's funny.
I read that twice. That was so
It was very good. It was very good. Now, one of my favorite ones is it was Noirtier. The granddad who was like,
oh yeah,
doing with the letters. I thought he was fantastic. I thought that was like a really good, like little suspense thing going there. And let's see, who else did I really like?
I personally enjoyed Dante, but it's just me.
I like Dante.
I like him, but he's not my favorite.
But he's not my favorite.
No, he wasn't my favorite.
Him, but he's not my favorite.
People are in the chat.
Noirtier, yeah.
They're saying the Morel family is Just getting some notes.
There was somebody. It's the Abe Fadia. He was hilarious. That was like the
he was the one
18th
who
century.
like basically let him know. These
That was like the
people ain't had
18th century MacGyver going on there. That was kind of cool. He had something for everything. Yeah. I liked him. I thought he was pretty cool.
And the whole Rachel, the whole Monte situation
Hey, Rachel.
made me appreciate Valentine, because like I that whole situation, anybody who's ever done like elder care or caregiving for someone who has had a health issue that has impeded their ability to talk, like Valentine was tops in my book for being the person that wanted to take care of her grandfather, because that's
grandmother.
That made her like, oh shit, that's a special bitch.
Her stepmama was about to take care of him for real.
Yo,
she was about to take care of him for real. Okay.
Wait, Michael, you haven't shared your favorites.
Oh,
you said
I like Dante. I think I just like him because I just like his progression, even though at the end he was so consumed by revenge. Like that, I was just like, oh god, it's so good, because I just wanted to see the plan that so many years that had just been built up, and I was just like, oh my god, do it. I was like, kill them all if you have to, I don't care. I was like, do it.
And his plan was like so good that he didn't even have to be there for it to go.
I was like,
I was like, right, you got your plan, Hook. You don't even have to be there to see it just fall. You know, it's like
and it's just like, I'm gonna do this. All right, I'll be back in a couple of days. All right, I'm gonna go be this person. I'm gonna go be this person. The entire orchestration. This situation and how because that's one of the things that I like kind of expected from seeing the movies versus reading the book. I thought that we were going to get some of the behind the scenes of him creating these characters and like plotting out what he wanted to happen versus what actually happens. And we didn't get that. Like we miss we don't get any of the plotting. So now it's just like, we just seeing this shit in my head. I'm like, no, do my and give me the fucking plot and information, because I need to know how he knew all of these people had some kind of connection. How did you know that Villefort and Madame Danglars were connected? How did you know that Villefort and Bertuccio were connected? Who hooked you up with Bertuccio? He was in the tweet. Who hooked you up with him? Like, I need that information.
Because
the movie did not do the book at all.
It goes very far, because even that whole situation with what's his name, Andrea, the abandoned so-called dead baby that wasn't really dead, that got
that plot line
at the orphanage, picked up by the guy's wife, raised.
No, his sister, not his wife, his sister,
his sister. I mean, it was like,
how?
How? And then he goes and finds the guy.
And Bertuccio and Benedetto and Caderousse all connected on different avenues. Like,
Caderousse and Andrea in the same prison cell together, and
it's kind of like he made it happen. But
damn, there's no Google. How you did that? Thank you. You did that with no Google.
We can't get that shit done with all the technology we have today. These mofos had paper, pen, and boats, and you made it happen.
The best was when he set up, when Caderousse broke into his office, how that whole thing got set up. How they got him to sign the letter and everything. Like, okay.
And made Caderousse write the letter. Write this. Just write what I tell you.
Yeah, just write it and sign it and keep your mouth shut. Just do it. Do what I tell you to do.
And then to play completely like different characters, like the Count of Monte Cristo, the representative of Thompson and French, the Abbe
Busoni or something like that.
Busoni.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Abe, they're all different characters and all
The
different
Abe Busoni
personalities.
and Sinbad the Sailor.
And Sinbad the Sailor. They're all different characters with different personalities. And to be able to play all of those parts and not lose sight of your end goal and so this is like the game, like 50 games of chess at one time. And I don't play chess, I suck at it, but this is like 50 games of chess.
Absolutely.
But you still only have, you're playing against this entire army of people that you're trying to get back with, but you still only have your original squad. Like your squad's not doubled, and you are in every single place.
There were the scenes that made me laugh so much. Was that one where they go, where he starts talking about, oh yeah, we dug up the garden. There was a baby buried in the garden, and the woman almost fainted dead away. I was laughing the whole time for that one. I thought it hilarious.
I also
then later on. He talks to Bill Fall's wife, and they start talking about poison. And I went, "Oh hell no!" Foreshadowing.
We know
like,
where this is going
down. You know.
The another character that I did like was Eugenie.
Yeah, Eugenie. Yeah,
I did like her because I thought, I don't know if it was just me, but I was like, is she lesbian? Because I'm like,
exactly.
Yeah,
I was the same.
Yeah, like what's crazy is, like, I have in my notes, like my note literally says Eugenie is gay, plain and simple. And if I had not had like known, number one, it's across two different translations that I was reading, having the audiobook and the physical book. But I was like, how did anybody else miss this? And then when I read part of the introduction, it wasn't missed. Like, there were parts of her character and her makeup that were excluded from some of the older translations because they did not want to, like, the whole puritanical thing. We can't have a lady described to have masculine and muscular features. So but yeah, she was definitely
clearly gay,
into chicks, and she told her daddy, I don't want to marry nobody.
In the hotel room where
she cuts her hair.
They're tasting that. I was like, this is so good. I was like, oh my gosh.
But her features are described as being masculine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like she's described as being I'm reading and no moralizing. Absolutely. I'm reading.
And then she winds up the guy she's supposed to marry actually winds up in the hotel room running away from the police.
Yes.
I thought that was hilarious. That was comical.
He's like,
they were like in the bed together with the sheets up, like, oh, get out.
And what's funny is, in that whole hush, don't say anything, because Louise is the one who starts ringing the bell after he says shush, like, just help me out. Doesn't Eugenie go over and ring the bell more like, no, Mom.
Come get him. Come get him quick.
And then they get away. And then they get away.
Wow.
Oh, okay. First of all, Alma, are you driving? Because every other
oh my God, please
we've done, she's been driving.
She driving.
But she said that the podcast that you recommended mentioned Eugenie being
I need
gay.
to check that podcast out.
I hadn't checked it out either.
Check it out.
Okay, so favorite characters. Okay, there was something else I was gonna ask. I can't think.
We can talk about the translations. That I thought was really important.
I have that as a talking point too, Mike.
Yeah. Well, there were quite a few translations out there that people were reading from. The one I have is Robin Buss.
Yeah, that's the one I have too.
That's the one I have. And then I don't even know if on Hoopla it says who the translator is of that edition. Let me see.
Yeah, I have the Rub and Bus edition. I thought it was fantastic translation wise. I was like, oh,
I thought it was beautifully done.
Really good. There's so many notes too, and I thought those were really helpful, especially since it becomes important because you kind of have to figure out like why is he getting accused of this, and like if you have no context to the history of that, you're like, what? Why is he getting just accused? But I thought the notes in the back were really helpful. I want to seek out more translated works by him because I always enjoy like translators who do really well, like really good.
Yeah, you said that when you were talking about reading Dostoevsky for this month, that the translator that you had for the previous one
their translation is always good because it's like a weird line
where attention to the translators. That sounds really bad. That sounds like I would literally, if I got a book and I knew it was translated, as long as I had the translated copy, I was fine. I never really paid attention to there being a difference between like the authenticity and the lyricalness from one translator to another.
Yeah, it varies. It's kind of like Murakami, because his books are translated by different authors, but there are different ones like Philip Gabriel. I think he's a better translator. It's weird, but I thought I thought this Rub and Bus edition was really good. I was like,
I think it was beautifully done though.
Yeah,
the language is done really well, and it just adds in just the right amount of French words in the right places to give you that kind of feel to it, that to keep you in the feel of the period.
Yes.
I don't know about the other ones because I saw other people with other translations. I don't know if anybody's in the chat right now that was reading a different translation can say if their translation, if they thought it was good, and if they thought it was good, who did it?
I think it's all it's all the Rub and Bus editions, because I hope nobody read the abridged version, because
I know somebody had picked up one by accident.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. I actually have that as a talking point on my notes too. The abridged version, a good one, because I don't think like this would be the one case where I wouldn't look at somebody out the side of my eye if they said they read the abridged version, because what I'm thinking the abridged version would be taking out are a lot of the repeated questions. Like you have a lot of questions that are asked 3 times with the same answer. And that someone, and so I think that's taken out of the abridged version. And then there's a lot of flowery, not unnecessarily flowery, but there's a lot of flowery blah, blah, phrases that are in, and like some of the paragraphs would not have been hurt by being cut by some of those beautiful and descriptors, but there are some things that are described multiple times, because I think Freeform Lady said that one of her co-workers read the abridged version and it was only 300 pages. But when she asked them,
she did mention that.
Only 700
but
pages.
when she asked them about a part where she was, they knew exactly what happened. Hi, Cynthia! Yay! And so someone on IG talked about sections of their book being removed.
Yeah, someone Rachel said someone on Instagram talked about parts of their book being removed because the scene was frowned upon in the country that it was translated. Probably the one with Eugenie.
The one with Eugenie, and then I think they're the one with Lucien Debray, when it's actually like clarified for us that that's Madame de Villeford's side piece,
exactly.
I think that's because that's mentioned in part. I didn't read the whole introduction. I read bits and pieces of it, but that's mentioned in the introduction too, with the trans, because it's a lot of different places and factions made their translations, and so they picked and chose what descriptions and what actions they wanted to be in the book that would have been appealing and pleasing. So, but yeah, I think that 300 pages does give me pause from 1200, but
that's a joke. Come
I
on
can
now.
understand yeah, that's a huge jump, but I can
That's a joke.
understand with a lot
They
of
missed all the good parts. They missed all the good parts.
I can understand with a lot of the things that happen, because even with listening to the because I think I mentioned this to Dee Dee, with listening to the audiobook and and reading my translation as I'm listening, it's two different translations.
Yeah, same.
And if it were not for, like, literally it threw me back to being a kid listening to the King James version and of the Bible being read in church, and then having the New Revised Standard or the Good News version in my lap as I'm reading along.
Yeah.
Because there are some sentences that are turned around from the audiobook translation to the Robin Bush translation to make some paragraphs longer than others. So yeah.
And even
I don't
just
think the abridged version could hurt.
They don't even use the same word in some of them. Like one, they kept, I think in the one I was listening to, it was saying portmanteau, and in this version it was saying, how did they say that? I think they were saying a trunk. So they were using, and it's weird because in French, portmanteau is like where you hang your coat. So when you hang your coat, basically. And then in this version, it was saying it was a trunk or something, where they were, I don't know, moving around or something. So there were like moments where the words were like completely different, where I feel like this version was much better. It was just clearer.
Yeah. There isn't a Robin Buss audiobook, Alma, but
I don't know, I never saw it.
There isn't one. I checked.
And there isn't one.
In the Robin Bush translation versus the whoever the translator is for the Hoopla version, there's differences. I don't know, because it's not on Hoopla who the translator is. When there's that whole speech about providence, providence in the Robin Bush translation is given female pronouns.
Yeah.
And the Hoopla translation is given male pronouns. And when we're first introduced to the whole family of the de Villefors, where we have Baron or Count de Villefort and his daughter from his first marriage, and then Madame de Villefort and Edward, Madame de Villefort is called Valentine's mother-in-law.
Yeah.
In the Hoopla translation versus stepmother in the Robin Bush translation.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's and I don't know who translated it. Yeah. I don't know what the original French, what term is used in the original French for her.
Dee Dee, did you read it in French?
Her relationship.
No, I didn't read the Robin Bush translation. But technically, if you talk about the mother-in-law, it's belle-mère. Belle-mère. I mean, the mother-in-law.
Yeah.
But it's actually technically, well, for Valentine, it's her stepmother.
Right.
So you would say.
So that confused me at first, because I was like, that's not right.
Yeah.
When I was listening to it.
Yeah, if it's her stepmother, and you would say, like in French, you would say, yeah, you would say belle-mère. You'd say the same.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's the same for stepmother and mother-in-law.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So maybe that's why.
That's probably why. Yeah.
That's probably okay. See, that's why we need French people here. That's why we need it.
But yeah, I mean, I thought the translation was a very good one. I mean, I wasn't that thrilled with what I was listening to. It wasn't as I don't think it was as exact as I would like. There were even moments where the chapters were off and they had skipped like 2 paragraphs. I was like, what? But I had to stop the audiobook and then go back and the bits that they hadn't, they just didn't put them in there. I'm not sure why. So yeah, the audios are kind of like all over the place. It's too bad that Penguin hasn't done an audio version of this version because it needs an audio for this version, in my opinion. So I'm not sure why they haven't done one, but I think that's what it's missing. Does anybody in the comment section have like
what just happened
that they want to ask or talk about in particular?
Rosa said this is the largest book she's ever read, but it was great.
Well, you picked a good one, Rosa, to read. That was long. Because for most people, they chicken out when books start to be like over 600 pages, and say that you've read a book that's over 1,200 and
some change.
1,276
pages.
Yeah. That's quite a challenge, Rosa. And if you did that, and that's your first book that was long that you read,
good job.
Yeah. Lord. Rachel went, Lord. Yeah, but you know, like when you're reading it, you don't feel like it's that long. I mean, because the scenes are fantastic. I mean,
that's what I enjoyed about it too. Hey, where'd it go? Where's
Tatiana?
Well, she did say that she was having issues with
she might be coming. She might jump back in then.
Yeah, she was saying she was having issues with her internet, so that she was getting cut off. But yeah, I really enjoyed that too. Oh wait, Rachel says she didn't read it, but she's rooting for us.
But you should read it, Rachel. You would love it. It's so dramatic, and so there's like swashbuckling and just all kind of shadiness here, there, and everywhere. And like the part that I really liked was when you remember when they in the beginning when they go when he's in Italy.
Yeah.
And they go to the opera. And there's this woman who swears that Dantes is some kind of vampire.
Oh, so yeah, because then they had the vampire.
Like she's trying to make the guy take her home, like right away. Take me home right now. And then later on, I think it's Dantes says. I don't know if it's Dantes. I can't remember if it's Dantes. I think it's Dantes says something like he says something really shady, like, "Yeah, Italian women are nothing like French women." I mean, like. What woman is going to ask a man that she doesn't even know to take her home, like right away?
That.
Like Italian women would do that. French women would never do that. I love the little shadiness around French women and Italian women. There's a lot of that when they were in Italy. There was a lot of comparisons between the two countries. So that was pretty good.
I'm wondering. Okay, is Toddy okay? Are you okay? Coming back in? She said her internet's having issues, so she's coming back in, but I'm not sure. Yeah, we'll just keep going. Someone asked, what did you think of the ending? Did you expect it to be this way?
Well, yeah.
Like the end? The end?
Well, I knew that Valentine was still alive. I knew that she wasn't going to die.
So
that was evident. That was foreshadowed in the very beginning of the book.
Yes, it was. It was. When he was telling her like, oh, I'm gonna go behind this this wall right quick.
Yeah, right quick.
I'll be back. I'll be right back.
I'll be right here.
I thought for a second that maybe, because I think that's why I really like Dante, is because at that point I was like, is he gonna poison her for real? Because when I know, but when she dies, I was like, oh my God, did he really do it? And the whole time I was like, no, I think
beginning with Madame Villefort. In the beginning, where Dantes, the Count of Monte Cristo, and Madame Villefort are talking about poisons.
Yeah. Yes,
that's that explains what's going to happen to Valentine at the end. So I wasn't too surprised that that she popped up alive at the end. I mean, he kind of explained how the poison works.
Yeah, I was like so into it. I'm not gonna lie. I think I was gullible because I was like, "Oh, he killed her. He killed her." I was like, "No,"
but no, he had antidotes.
Yeah. No, but
he
then in the
had
end, I was
antidotes.
like, okay, it makes sense that
What freaked me out about that whole situation, I had an internet hiccup and I had to get my shit together. What freaked me out about that whole situation is how long was she in the fucking coffin?
Okay. I was just saying, I was like, did they prep the body? I mean, like, what do that? Yeah.
And he said he told her, like, even if you open your eyes and you're in a box, like, I promise you, I got you.
Okay.
But I'm like, how? Wow. Like those coffins are airtight. How long was she in there?
Okay. Because in my head, I'm also thinking like, okay, so back then they had some sort of contraption to get air inside in there after she's been buried for like a while. But I was like,
I mean, look how he escaped from the Chateau d'If.
That's probably
his ass got
that was him and his determination. Valentine was so like, she was so perfect. Basically, like she had no
choice but to trust him.
Yeah.
Yes, but still, for me, the reader, that bitch still in. Like, this came out in weekly installments, y'all.
Yeah, I know.
So
people must have been
for weeks. This chick was in a coffin.
Clutching my pearls.
Oh my gosh, the level
bunch of
of
Southern people still say that to this day, like, "Oh, my pearls, clutching my pearls."
The level of anxiety I had around that entire situation, and then we don't get back to it for like 200 freaking pages.
It was long. I was like,
it was long.
That's why I thought she really died. That's why I thought she was really dead, because I was like,
Michael.
Okay, they're not addressing this at all. Like, it's been a couple of pages now. I'm like, I think she really did die.
It's like we are left with the same assurance that she's left, but she knows she out. We didn't know.
And Maximilian is about ready to kill himself, like any way he can, because
he never told, like, he alleviated that. That's another thing that got me at the end. Before he reveals it to Maximilian, he says something of he hasn't been miserable enough to deserve happiness. Like that's, and I was like, no, this mofo want to die. Like that's not what about you.
He was not feeling that. Yeah.
Anna is asking, before we veer off even more, Anna was asking, can you think of any books similar to this one where it's most how immersing it was and brilliant? Like,
and this long too, because there were no dry points.
No, well, I'm gonna say A Brief History of Seven Killings.
Okay, see, I haven't read that.
It is pretty engrossing, that one, though.
Oh yes.
Oh my God, yeah. I might reread that one next
year. The thing is with that, I would give it like an asterisk in the sense that it has very literary, like language-wise, it's very literary. So if you're not used to that, it could be more of a put-off.
And there's also a lot of patois in there.
Patois, yes.
So patois, if you're not used to
it, it won the Man Booker, so that pretty much means it's not
patois. What I did was I had to read it out loud. I just started reading out loud, and it kind of makes sense when you read out loud. But like for some reason, when I read in my head, I was like, I don't know what they're talking about.
I mean, I could understand it because like it's similar to like Mark Twain and that Southern vernacular.
Special. I mean, it's
different.
You got to get the Jamaican sound voice in your head.
Mm-hmm.
If you can get that in your head, then it's fine. But and it's long, that one. A Brief History is really long.
If you want a long one, it is.
But I just have to put like some little asterisks on that one because I don't think it's something that a lot of people are gonna like to read.
Yeah, it's very violent.
The language, because of the violence.
It is incredibly violent. Be wary, like it is violent, and there are more than 7 killings.
Yeah,
there are a lot of killings.
Yeah,
like
what did he say? When there was like about 55 in there or something.
Yeah,
it's.
I'm not sure if there's an audiobook. I read it physically.
Yeah, there is an audiobook.
There is an audiobook, and I don't know who narrates it, but whoever it is, the patois is done really well. That's what I can, because I know somebody who I am subscribed to listen to the audiobook.
Well, that might be a way of getting around the patois. Like if you feel like it's too difficult, then get the audiobook and listen while you're reading it simultaneously. That might help with the understanding of the patois. I don't know. I'm trying to think of something that's
narrated by a cast. Oh, that's awesome. Whoa, it's a beast. It's a beast of an audiobook. It's 26 hours long.
Yeah. Wow.
But yeah,
that's a surprise.
Well, this was 47.
Yeah.
the audiobook time for this is like 47 hours and 50 something minutes, I think.
Let me look at my bookshelf and see if I can think of anything. Like,
I think it's something because you say immersive, and that's what I'm trying to.
Yeah, I think that's the part that's.
Yeah, that's the part that's because I got nothing.
Immersive. Oh, there is one that's kind of immersive. It's called what's the name of that book?
But like, if you want a big book, that's also the problem too. I'm looking at my bookshelf and trying to see.
Big book.
You know what? If you want a Stephen King, actually one of my favorites is The Stand. I love that book.
Okay, I haven't read that. I've only read
one of my favorite Stephen King
2 books by Stephen King.
There's one. It's Cutting for Stone.
Oh, by whatchamacallit. It has a B.
I have that. Do I have that?
That is an epic. Okay, now it's not as long.
No, that's Daughters of the Stone. I don't have that.
541 pages, but it still is it's a big book. But that one is pretty immersive. When you start reading that one, you're just like taken on a whirlwind. You're not getting off the train.
Yeah, this is huge.
I'll be right back. Buffy has to eat.
Yeah, The Stand is good Jesus Christ. This version is 1,152 pages. This book is it's long. But it's I think it's one of Stephen King's best novel in my opinion. It's really good. It's basically like a post-apocalyptic 99% of the world dies, and then there's 2 factions essentially that survives, and they go head to head kind of ish. It's violent too.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I can't think of anything that's really long though. Because let's see.
Well, Anna says it doesn't have to be big.
There's another one that I liked a lot. I read this one when I was living in Cairo. It's called The Power of One by Bryce Courtney. That one is really good. It's a story. It takes place in South Africa, and the main character is this English boy, and there's a lot that goes on in the book. It's pretty immersive because you've got apartheid. You've got the kid who is growing. It's like a coming of age a little bit because he's just moved there and he's English, and the South Africans don't like English people.
Okay, it's on my want to read list on Goodreads. So
apparently that one is really good. It was really good. I quite like that one actually.
All right.
I don't know. Something else immersive. Oh, another one that's immersive.
I do plan to read The Black Count, Alma. Alma just
I want to read The Black Count as well.
I want to read The Black Count after it's here it is. I want to read The Black Count after I finish The Three Musketeers.
Oh, let me go look at in my library.
The Black Count should be really good.
This actually sounds really good.
But I'll definitely probably try to read the Three Musketeers next year because
oh yes.
Yeah.
Is
Okay,
Robin
so I
Butts
have
translating that?
Robin Butts? I don't know. I'd
I
have to
hope he
look that
no,
one up.
translated it.
the translation I have, I don't think is Robin Butts. It's an noble.
Oh,
So I haven't even looked to see. It was at a used bookstore, and I was like, oh my god! And so I just grabbed it. It was like $2. So if I need to get another one, I won't be mad. But
oh, my library has it as an ebook. I shall add that. The Black Count.
Black Count is supposed to be really good. Hey, what's that other version? There's a couple of versions of the Three Musketeers, though. I think they did a newer version, but I don't know who did the version. There's a lot of. Oh, yeah, there's the Penguin Classic Deluxe version.
Yes.
It looks this. Let's see. It looks like this.
Oh yes. I've seen that one.
Now, wait, let me just see who does this one because I'm not sure. Richard Piver.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Yes. Yes.
He's the one that does
the Russian ones. Okay, I'm gonna get that version.
Yeah,
Michael just got like immediately excited.
No, his translations are so good. He translated.
Yeah, he did the Russian one.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, this one right here. Oh, it's so good. I love this book so much. It's not for everyone, but it is so good. It's basically it's like the devil basically comes to town in like a circus, and there's like a cat. There's like a circus master. Oh, it's so good. And there's like a love story with it. It's one of my favorites. Probably because also there's an anime kind of like this too. So oh yeah, this is great. I love this.
Okay, so that's the version if you want like the Penguin version. It's this one with the comic, and it's Piver that does the translation, and Tom Gold does the illustrations. Keeping in mind that the Three Musketeers is the first book
of a trilogy.
What
series? It's the first book. So
wait, the first book of a trilogy?
Yeah, it's a trilogy because you have
The Man in the Iron Mask is the third one. There's one in between. Was it 20 years later or something?
It's 20 years after. It's the second one, and
Iron Mask.
Oh yeah, and then you also have the Vicomte de Magellan.
Oh my gosh,
that's it's 3.1.
Oh, Dumas was doing trilogies before trilogies were a thing.
But see, the question is, because we talked about this a little bit before we went live. The question is, because they were done like serialized, they weren't really made trilogies until they were all taken and compiled and made. Now, for the fact of what they did with the Count of Monte Cristo, and that being one book, they could have made, for the size of the Three Musketeers, they could have made at least the first books one book. It would have been about 1,100-1,200 pages. But they chose to break that into 3 stories for whatever reason.
Yeah, because technically you have the Three Musketeers, then you have 20 years after, then you have the Vicomte de Magellan, then you have 10 years later. No, sorry, Louise de la Vallière. And then you have The Man in the Iron Mask. But you know what? Technically, you could probably read them separately, and it would not be, you could read them out of order, and I don't think it would be a big deal.
So, okay, here's a question that I had, or I don't know if it may be a statement. Y'all not know how I get when I start talking. The whole issue with, because the reason why, or what dug the nail in the coffin that made this jealousy plot so fortuitous at the start for Danglars and Fernand was this whole split between the Bonapartist party versus the Royalists.
Yeah.
And that, that whole thing, and who was, because it wasn't revealed until we meet back up with the Morels when he comes back as a Thompson and French when he comes back as a Thompson and French agent, that Monsieur Morel was a Bonapartist. And then Villefort's father was a Bonapartist, and all of the back and forth that takes place and the change in power. And it seems like it happened really quick, right, Cynthia? That's why I wanted to make sure you were here. That back and forth went on like really quick, and all I kept thinking as I was reading it, like in my mind, of how fast that happened for changes of power to take place, how dangerous it was to reveal your loyalty on either side, because you didn't know who you were dealing with.
Yeah. And also, you would not want to reveal who you were for without knowing who everybody else was for.
Right, because that's what happened, and that's what happened with Franz's daddy.
Yeah.
And they knew that he went in. I was like, you in a whole room of people who are for Napoleon, and you like, fuck y'all, I like Louis. Seriously, dude? Like, he knew he wasn't going to live after that.
Yeah.
He knew he wasn't going to live after that.
Yeah. Anna has a question. How relevant did you think the theme of envy is still applicable to daily life?
Every day.
Did you think it was exaggerated? Girl, that shit ain't exaggerated.
No, not exaggerated at all.
We already talked about that before we got online, because I was like,
people have done worse.
And now, like, now that we have social media, not only is it being done worse, but it's being done younger. Like you have elementary school kids who are envious of what people got for Christmas, and so they talk shit about them to their face, and then they talk shit about them on the internet, and it's worse.
No, I think
because it's more accessibility makes it worse.
Look, they even had a crime here that happened where the neighbors killed their neighbors because they were jealous of their wealth.
And all you getting is jail. Like, you're not getting none of what they got. All you're getting is jail.
Girl, they killed the wife, the husband, and the two children, and the third one get killed because he was sleeping at the friend's house. Can you believe?
Oh my gosh.
So still relevant.
Yeah. That's why when I was like, oh, he just wants revenge, and I was like, I kind of understand. Like, I get it.
Mm-hmm.
I was like,
they threw his ass in jail for 19 years. I mean, come on.
17 I was like, years. I get it.
19,
I was like,
19 years for the jealousy of someone else.
Mm-hmm.
And what that, like, in this day and age, he would just be dead. Like, his life would have ended at age, how old was he at the start of the book? At 19. Age 19. Yeah. At age 19, his life would have ended because he would just have been dead.
But keep in mind, they were not only jealous, but they were ruthless to the fucking core. Because even after they did that, they continued to do plenty of other bad stuff to plenty of other people.
Mm-hmm.
So I also liked,
wealth and to get known and in society. So I mean, they were like really rotten to the core.
Yeah. In the beginning, it's like you can see Dante, because like the way that he spoke, maybe it's because of the translation, but the way he spoke, it just seems so happy and whatnot. But then after that, it's like it's
a huge change. Yes, it's a huge change in his.
The cadence is like so different, especially towards the end. And then at the end, at the last, like literally the last chapter, there's a part where I was like, oh, the voice sounds really different. I was like, oh, this is so good.
Yeah. Well, he had come full circle.
Yeah.
You can see that it had come full circle by then.
And what's crazy is, so this is one of the notes that I have, and in all caps I have efficiency, because he did all of this in 6 months. 6 months.
Yeah. He was on a mission.
Yeah.
I mean, and there were so many people who were involved, and I need to know how he knew the connections. Like how there were so many, it's not even 6 degrees of separation in this. It's like 3. But he made all of those connections when we didn't have, this is in the 1800s. How did you make all of those connections? Because like the paper trails would have been at the houses of the people who were involved.
Somebody said Edmund died in that prison.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sunshine Bucks ask, was the Count falling in love with his ward and marrying her creepy to anyone else?
What's her name?
Haiti.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, but no, because she was in a, they were both adults, but they were both young, and the age difference between the two of them was less than the age difference of marriages that were typically arranged during that day. Like if you look at Valentine and Franz, I think they were like 8 or 9 years apart, something like that. Like it's so it was because he never looked, it was like all of a sudden he's starting to look at her this way.
Yeah.
And maybe that had to do with the alleviation of some of the burden that he felt in carrying out his vendetta.
Yeah, possibly.
That he started to feel that way because she was his ward for a long time. But yeah, it was a little creepy and a little what's the syndrome when you have when you fall in love with your captor? Because he refers to her as a slave.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah.
What is it called?
Oh Jesus!
It says Monte Cristo was in his 40s and Haiti was
1890. Okay, yeah, but see that was not atypical for marriages that were arranged back in that day.
Yeah.
Stockholm syndrome. Thank you, Rachel, because none of our brains are working.
I was like, I just see it.
What I was thinking of Munchausen. Munchausen.
What is Munchausen? That's something else.
Completely different. It's like Stockholm one coming kept saying Munchausen kept coming in my head. I was like, girl, it ain't that. It ain't that, girl. Girl, everybody's got Stockholm. Yay. All right, good.
But the 20-year difference was not, because what was I reading? Shit, what was I reading where it was someone that I read this year? I low-key want to say it was Unforgivable Love, where there was that age difference between two of the people who were supposed to be getting married. It was like a 15-20-year age difference. And the daughter with the daughter who was taking piano lessons and fell in love with the dude. That's it.
The years age difference?
I think it was because he had been married before. And I want to say with Villefort and his second wife that there's that big of an age difference because he was married because Valentine is 18, 19.
Yeah.
I want to say when we get there, and they had
very jealous of Valentine.
Yeah,
as well.
it was like 5 years that separated her from her stepmother. They were close in age.
Yeah, they were.
So, yeah. Yes, you're right. He mentioned her. He said that she was like a daughter, and he said that she was a slave. The first time he talked about her, he said that she was his slave, and then when he referred to her, he was talking to somebody else at the opera when they ran into the Countess G. And then when he's talking to Haiti, he refers to Haiti as his daughter.
Daughter, yeah.
You ain't wrong.
That's
you ain't wrong.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Technically, that's creepy.
Okay, I'm back.
Yeah, that is creepy. But I do think that it's creepy. But I also think because he never thought about getting back with Mercedes.
Yeah, because
like that was like you've been ruined by Fernand.
Exactly. She was like tainted.
I don't want you.
Like
I don't want you. I don't want you. I don't want you no more.
I'm over it.
But I do think that there was some relief for him emotionally as he completed his schemes of revenge. I just wish that the like outward representation of that had just been with somebody else, not Haiti.
Oh.
Yeah.
But I think that's what that represents. But I don't think that was
But
a
it was
good way to
but it
go.
was kind of sad when Madame Villefort kills herself and her son.
I
Like,
don't think it was sad. I don't think it was sad. I think she did that shit like, I'm not leaving my son to you.
like really?
I think if I got to go, so do he. Like we gonna hurt you for real, for real.
For real. Yeah. Well, she was up in the house poisoning
I think
everybody's.
it was vindictive.
Nobody could buy without getting the poison in the glass. So
Right.
I think it's sad because of the child. Like the child didn't have to.
No, you're not gonna live being drink.
Yeah, and that was that was one of the side effects that Dantes didn't want to happen. Like he ran out the room with Edward to try and see if he could save him. And it had been like 30 minutes. The boy was dead.
Yeah, exactly.
But that was too. Oh crap! What was I getting ready to say? I forgot. It's gonna come back unless I wrote it down. Oh, yep.
Somebody said
both of Villefort's kids.
What?
Both of Villefort's boys were a mess. Because Benedetto was a criminal. Edward was an 8-year-old that they were treating like a 5-year-old who looked like a 12-year-old and was so rude and disrespectful. Like his daddy told him to go in the other room and he gonna look at him like, I ain't going nowhere. Like, Mama ain't tell me to leave.
He was like, go in the other room.
That don't happen in Black House. That's all I think. I wish I would tell my dad, act like I'm not gonna follow my daddy's directions.
Somebody put, besides Valentine Villefort's other kids were psychopaths.
They're right though. Can you imagine? Can you imagine what Edward would be like as an adult? If he would have been another Benedetto.
Yeah. Someone said that
little nightmare.
Lady Walker said that little nightmare.
And after Ali done saved your life, and you were so scared that you passed out in your mama's arms, you gonna say you don't want to say thank you to him because he's too ugly? Listen here, little boy.
No, you are not wrong, girl. You are not wrong.
Oh, yeah.
And I like that scene when what's his face gets kidnapped. That first contact when they're in Italy and he gets kidnapped and he has to bail out his money. That scene is
Albert, yeah.
So you get that whole story about the guy who's in love, who is in love with the young girl. They grew up together, and then she winds up getting kidnapped, and that whole thing. I love that scene because it kind of gives this folkloric, atmosphere to the story, and gives you this idea that there are rituals that that people have to go through whether they like it or not, and how this aristocrat kind of gets mixed up in sort of the same thing and winds up getting kidnapped. And it's sort of like the contact that the count needs to make his plan really work. And it just
but the question is did he orchestrate that though?
Yeah.
There's a part of me that thinks he orchestrated that, and Luigi Vampa didn't even know that he orchestrated it.
Well, you kind of have a feeling that that's the case because we see later on that he is connected to this gang. He's connected to them. So you're thinking, okay, he's obviously gotten him mixed up in it because it starts with him exchanging a flower with a girl at the carnival. And it almost feels like that is like a signal so that they know who to kidnap. You see, so they don't kidnap what's his name?
Franz.
they
get
kidnap
the right person.
exactly.
Mm-hmm. And Albert is just so like into himself, and so there was somebody in my mind that I compared him to in listening, not listening, and reading, because I felt like he was talking like for real. Yeah. But in reading his character, there is somebody in a character in a show that it brought to mind as how like out there, not out there, but like extravagant, and just he wanted to sow his royal oats, but he wasn't royal, but he knew that there was this match when he got home, so he wanted to have all of this fun before he got back home. But he was just so outlandish and so out there and so extra.
But then for the next scene, well, later on in the book, where he decides to do a duel with the Count of Monte Cristo, that's when I was just like, dude, really? Come on now.
That whole that's another example of him like literally flying by the seat of his pants. Like you've seen this dude shoot. Yeah. You've seen him shoot.
Yeah, it was kind of weird. They're like, oh, okay, we're not going to do swords. It's going to be guns. Okay.
It was like he was real stupid.
Apologized his way out of it, and he
had Mercedes made him get out of it.
I don't know.
Because
he did it.
I don't either. We don't get that, and I wish we did, because she was. I was in my feelings that she was so happy and like ready to ask Dantes, don't kill him. Not like that. You don't understand. Like she didn't understand that for Dantes not to kill him, Dantes had to die.
See, that's one of the reasons why she was unattractive to him. That right there.
Yes.
That right there is the reason why he was just like, you know what? Let's forget about that. That's not going to work out.
And so, you got 3 days for a duel? No.
Exactly.
We're doing that shit now. Let's go.
Like, oh, damn. They're going to do a duel now? It's like.
I demand satisfaction. One of the Go ahead, Michael.
Oh, I said Anna referred. She said Anna says one of my favorite scenes in Danglar being in the cage. That was epic. And then you replied, that expensive ass chicken.
Man, that was an expensive ass and skinny. Awful. Like before he got the chicken, it was the juiciest thing that had been brought down there. Yeah. Then after he paid that 1,000 livre for it, he got it, and it was like it was skinny.
I was like, damn. Was it a whole chicken?
It was the whole chicken.
It was a Popeye's chicken sandwich.
Yeah.
That's what that was.
No, but the worst is he got the chicken and some other stuff, but forgot to ask Frank. Come on now.
What you better lick your sweat, because that's gonna cost you another 1,000 livre. Everything costs 4,000 livre.
You gotta go back and pay a drink. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Jennifer says the dual thing was also a testament to the difference between culture then and now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I see that, yeah.
Yeah. There's a Simpsons episode where Homer, is it The Simpsons or Family Guy? One of them where they go around just slapping people with it. He goes around slapping people with his glove. I demand satisfaction.
Oh, I think it's Family Guy. I think Peter. I think it sounds like Peter doing it.
Family Guy.
Book Nerd TV says Mercedes asked that, but she also knew she was going to tell her son the entire truth about everything. After that, Albert's pride is destroyed.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that I understand. Yeah. But when he told her with the conversation between the two of them, she has shock.
Mm-hmm.
That he says, if Albert doesn't die, I gotta die.
Yeah.
She is shocked by his response of that, and I don't know, maybe she wanted him to say, I'm glad that there are other people who watch Family Guy. Hot damn. Maybe she wanted him to say that I will make the apology to not have the duel, but no, he was like, we're still gonna have a duel. I'm gonna be the one to die.
Yeah.
What did you guys? Go ahead.
Nope. Go ahead, Michael.
No, go ahead.
Nope.
Oh,
no.
Sunshiny says, what did you guys think of Katuchi?
Catarus?
Catarus?
No,
Catarus?
Catarus.
Do you mean Catarus?
Catarus?
I think I think it's
I
Catarus.
think she means
The one that
Catarus.
was, that was blackmailing Andrea at the end.
Yeah.
I think that is an example of like how the mighty, so to speak, because he really wasn't mighty, but he was, because he was a tailor. So he was well known for what he did at the beginning of the story. I think it was an example of like someone who has power of some sort or influence of some sort falling, and he fell before Dantes got into the mix of anything. Like his fall down, you went from being a tailor with living this somewhat extravagant lifestyle to being the owner of a hotel that don't nobody come stay.
Yeah, but I think also Catarus is this example of that person that is down, is really low in society, that will do anything to try to get some extra money. Doesn't matter if it's legal or not. And the first chance he
got to that point
to get something, he'll do it. He's not somebody that's very he can never be loyal to anyone. He's never going to be loyal to anyone. He's going to be loyal to his own freaking wife. Okay, so
because he sure enough left her ass on the stairs bleeding and walked out the door with the money and the jewels.
Okay, because that's the kind of people they are. They're like those people down at the bottom who don't have much they don't have much they don't have much scruples about what they do to people and how they're going to get what they're going to get. All they're doing is scheming and conniving. So
Bucknard says, what did you think of his wife?
Well, she was the same.
Yeah. She was an opportunist, and she won't shy to let it be known that she was an opportunist, because she nicely told him when that appraiser came through to look at that diamond, she told him, if you let him go up out of here, you ain't a man.
Yeah, exactly. That's
if it were
exactly
me,
what she said.
he would not be walking up out of here.
Exactly.
That she was like, that was where it was like, that's my story and I'm sticking to it. And now that he done come back, I'm gonna do what you wouldn't do. And that's how she ended up dead.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So they're both, like I said, they're the same. They're from the same cut from the same cloth. And they don't really care about, they don't have any scruples. They're just trying to get over on people any way they can.
Yeah. And she was dying. She had tuberculosis or typhoid fever or something. She was dying. All of that hacking she was doing, she won't gonna have long to live with that money anyway.
They both were ruthless and dangerous. They both were ruthless and dangerous. Not just the wife, they both
not just the wife, because he was fine with leaving her there. He didn't even know that Benedette that Bertuccio was in the house.
Exactly. They were both dangerous.
So Bertuccio really became a victim of happenstance.
Yeah, happenstance.
Outside of being a smuggler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, but I think what's interesting is that the beginning of the story starts with this plan to get rid of Dantes. It involves Cadarus, Beauclair, and Villefort.
No, not Villefort and Fernand. Not Villefort.
And Fernand. And they're on the same level. They're all on the same level, pretty much.
And Villefort did not get brought into it except for the letter. Were it not for the letter, it's Villefort not wanting anybody to know that his daddy was a Bonapartist. Exactly. So Villefort, was corrupt, but he wasn't. Yeah, he was corrupt. Well, you know that when his fucking daughter died, and he still didn't want to put the bitch in jail.
Exactly, he's very corrupt. So the law is good for everyone else except for mine. You know, so
yeah.
Hey, it's Najiri.
When you see the three of them together, and you see that they're kind of on the same level, and then you see how, as the book goes on, that Cadarus stays all the way down here, and the other two, they go up. You know,
like Fernand has changed his name.
Yeah.
You know,
military, and
Danglars hasn't changed his name, but he's had, you know, he's got his wife, and he's now a baron.
He's a banker, like really,
and he's a baron.
Yeah, he's a baron.
Like there's the whole importance of position, power, money, and Freeform Lady mentioned in her video about the importance of honor, and you know how important that was to some people then, and that the act of dishonor. All I heard in my head as she was talking was Mushu from Mulan. Dishonor on you, dishonor on your cow. But it like how damaging dishonor was to the person in society, but also to their own mental well-being.
Yeah,
but you saw how they treated, like, I mean, he's a baron, okay, but when the count shows up, they're like, the Count of Monte Cristo. How is he count? Count how?
Right.
Where does his money come from? Wow, we don't know.
Well, you know, titles can be bought. That whole line, that is everything.
That is everything. Girl, that's how it is here. You know, it's like, what, money, how you got it? You know, you go rich. Oh no, that's not the same thing. You know, so
because there's a whole conversation too when it talks about the match between Eugenie and Albert, and how they have, because Fernand was a fisherman, and how you know, the clout that Danglars has is better than the clout that Fernand has. What the hell, Morcerf, that he has, because Danglars got his by position, Morcerf got his by money.
Yeah, that whole thing, because that's a really big, those are the parts where I feel like Dumas is writing from his own personal experience, being that he's a half black, half white man trying to maneuver himself around in high society. And having people judge him because he is not considered to be you know, of their class. And because he makes a lot of digs about that whole thing, you know, about class and about who's who, and especially about Dantes, the idea that people think like, so where does he come from, and how does he have all this money? He bought that house. Wow. Oh, he did all of this, and you know, there's all of this comparing, and it's like,
and you didn't know that the house at Auteuil was owned by the Saint-Morans, like
exactly, yeah,
all of that. Like, was this just public knowledge?
Yeah, between the idea of being jealous, but also the idea of trying to mark their territory, like, you know, you're not good enough to be here because you're not really real. You know, you probably just bought that title. And then I think even somebody says, oh, well, you know, it's the island of Monte Cristo
it's a big rock. It's just a rock.
Big rock. There's nothing there. That's you know, his title.
He bought that island. Rock. There's nothing there, and because he bought that island, he could be the count of it because it belongs to him.
Yeah. And so, what you guys? I loved all of the hashish smoking going on in this book too. I was somebody cracking up some hashish. Come on now, Dantes was,
and it was strong.
Smoking, okay?
And it was strong.
Oh, you killed me! You always was smoking some kind of hashish or something.
Oh my gosh! I swear, if they had vents, he would have just had it filtered into the air.
Was that like maybe they?
When they smoked so much hashish, they were like,
I love it.
Oh Lord, it was good. I was like, okay, let's put the hashish away now because you've had enough of that. Yeah.
Oh, some of the stuff that like Rosa says, the honor thing was why Mercedes didn't keep any of Fernand's money.
Yeah,
but then half of it belonged to her. That's what, didn't somebody tell her that? half of it belonged to her, so she should have kept her half.
But she didn't.
Yeah.
Somebody put, I love, Lady J. Walker said, I love the skilled way they threw shade in the book. Yeah, I did too. I mean,
and that's probably why the earlier translations took some stuff out. Between it wasn't just the proclivities in the bedroom, but it was the other stuff too.
Living in France, living in Italy, they're pretty shady, pretty much both ways on that one.
Book Nerd TV says, but in the end, the society could be bought off by lots of money.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Oh, definitely.
As he bought that guy off to do that fake message.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I'll give you another 1,000, and then you can buy a house. You can have a garden. I'll pay you another
chapter called? It was something about how to rid a gardener of his dormices. Like you bribe him and you get him, you tell him to leave. Like,
you know, he was that guy was doing that. He was doing that transfer, and I mean, he bought him like.
Oh, it's how to rescue a gardener from dormice who are eating his peaches.
You pay him off.
Yeah.
And that guy was just like, because he like gave him the money in his hand. He was just like, oh, that's a lot of money. He's like,
that's a lot of money. And then even after that, he's like, but wait, the telegraph is coming through. I know. Do this. Yeah,
but then he went inside the building and fainted. Passed out. Leave all the money they had in his pocket.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, some Book Nerd TV says we need a Dumas shade meme, by the way.
There isn't one. I was looking for good memes on Twitter, and there aren't any. There aren't any good ones, even for the Count of Monte Cristo.
Oh, we gotta get that together.
Yeah. Okay, so since we went on the creepy train with Haiti and Dantes, let's continue that creep factor with the half siblings who were betrothed. Because damn it, if Andrea and Eugenie ain't brother and sister.
Exactly.
Yeah, I was like, what? But I think it was. Was that common though?
Yeah.
Not brother and sister, cousins. Cousins.
Yeah, but that was common back then.
Yeah, I was I thought that was common. That's probably why I was just like, oh.
Did get married, especially with people of royalty and
but they both had the same mama.
Okay.
They had the same mama.
They didn't care.
Yeah, that was all right.
But they didn't know.
Yeah, they didn't know.
Knew. They didn't know. The Count knew.
Oh yeah.
They wouldn't have known, Lord, if that went through.
Absolutely, very common
until that first baby popped out looking sideways in face and feature. Because they're, oh my gosh. No, that would not have.
Not a good look.
Once the police officer showed up, like I literally said, "Oh, thank God."
Sunshiny asked, "What did the Count look like to you in your head as you read? Any celebrity matchups? White?
Not Caviezel. Not Jim Caviezel.
I wasn't thinking celebrity matchup.
Yeah. Usually when I read, I don't have like a mental image of someone. It's like more like a spear, almost like kind of like an aura of them. I don't really have like details of how they look. Even when
an actual vision.
Yeah, like when Arthur's
dark-haired. Dark-haired, very, very white skin, because everybody kept saying he looked like a vampire.
He is a vampire.
And the rest was just kind of like vague.
But then with the dark hair and the really, really white skin, I could not picture him with the beard that he had when he gets to the island after he leaves the chateau, after he swims from the Chateau d'If and he's picked up by the band of smugglers at that island. I can't picture him with that. That's why I agree with you, Michael, that it's more of an aura
Yeah, like
of
I don't.
that person as opposed to seeing particular features. Because I could not picture this emaciated, pale man with
a beard,
with shoulder length hair and this long, like, to me, the beard would be super duper straggly, like a 16-year-old who's got patches of long peach fuzz. That like it didn't match up. So
yeah, because I think that's another thing that is not very cohesive in the descriptions, is that you get different descriptions of him at different periods, and sometimes it's because he's supposed to be a different person.
Yeah,
either supposed to be the Abbé Busoni. Next time, the Sinbad the sailor. Then he's the Count
Englishman. Someone mentioned the Englishman, and I totally forgot about the representative from Thompson and French, Mr. Because he was the dude Wilbur. He was that dude.
Yeah, he was that dude.
Can we talk about Book Nerd TV says? Can we talk about Abe Faraya?
Oh, loved him.
I missed that. Where is that? Where I could have put that.
He's the MacGyver. He's a MacGyver.
Yeah.
MacGyver.
That's exactly. I mean, I don't even understand how, with the supplies that they were given, how he made, because they weren't really given supplies. They weren't given pen and paper. He learned how to make his own pen and paper and how to make his own ink, and just how MacGyver is appropriate.
Look, I mean, I nearly keeled over when he said, "Oh, I just use the fish bones and I can, write, and then I use the ink from the sauce and the something, and then I use this for the." I'm like, damn, that is MacGyver, because he was just like, he was using everything in the freaking jail. There wasn't much to use, and he was using everything he could.
And then to make his spade to dig through, he dug through stone. Like that is some determination. And then whole thing, all he did was end up in another cell. He just knew he was getting out. And he spent all of those years digging through stone. Yes, and he instantly knew Edmund had been set up, and he knew that it had been written with the offhand. I can't write with my left hand. That's another thing that amazed me. Like, are they half ambidextrous in the 1800s? Because my left hand does not look legible at all.
Yeah, those were some excellent scenes. Is when you realize, Dantes realizes how naive he was, that he was just so freaking naive. It's sort of like
I trusted all these people.
Yeah, but it's like when you do something and you just don't see it until after the fact, and all you want to do is kick yourself. Like,
yes,
you dummy. You're here.
We all need an Abe Faria in our life.
Yeah.
Everybody needs an Abe Faria in our life.
Absolutely. He was the
we
bomb.
Need somebody who, because he saw it without knowing any of these people, without knowing the history or the background.
All the right questions, though.
Yes.
He said, "Oh, well, how old are you?" And then he said, "Oh, well, what were you doing?" And, well, who would, be taking that job if you didn't get it? And, he was just asking the right questions. And Dantes was just naive. He was young and naive.
He was 19.
Yeah, he didn't know.
He was 19.
Yeah.
And then that's the other thing that I think is missed a little bit in the book too. Like, you get it when Dantes talks about how long he was in jail, but how many years he and Abe Faria had in prison together.
Yeah.
That they were, that they were doing all of this talking and sharing all of the languages that he taught him and all of that.
Well,
he had years of tutelage.
He said, "Oh, I can teach you everything you need to know. I can teach you I think you said, oh, you only need to know like 1,000 words to, be able to speak a little bit of a language.
And when I read that, I was like, Dee Dee would disagree with this so hard.
Well, that might not be totally false. Depends on what kind of conversation you want to have. Like if you just want to just be able to say hello, how you doing? Get me one of those. No, I don't want that. I want this. Maybe, but like if you're gonna like plead a case,
have a conversation, and
you have a bit more than 1,000 words. But I mean, I thought it was interesting. It was teaching him about maths and teaching him about just things that he thought would make him look more cultured. Like it's almost like he knew that he was going to go get out, get revenge. He would need these tools to be able to get revenge properly. Because he said he was like thinking you're too young, this stuff you're missing. I'm going to have to teach you some things. And then the fact that he kept saying he had this money and everybody was like, yeah, your ass is rotting in jail. You ain't got no money.
And he showed the proof. He showed the proof to Edmund, and Edmund took it. Edmund said, if it ain't there, I still need to get there to get away from the Chateau d'If. So Edmund just took him at his word. It might not be here. And then lo and behold. Okay.
Book Nerd TV does said Edmund represents the death of innocence.
Of innocence. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because we talked about that earlier, like how he changed.
Yeah.
Throughout the book.
Throughout the book, and that's probably the thing that's the most consistent. Is that change is steady. It's a steady change. It's consistent change. Because sometimes I think in books when they do like a kind of revenge story or just even to show change in general in the character, you don't get it. They don't feel. I don't feel like you feel like they've changed really. And I think in this book he does it really, really well. Like you can actually really see the progression as he gets revenge, finally looping over and tying a knot completely. That change has gone full circle on him.
Yeah, and he also has to look at the law because when he first comes out, his initial desire is that the people, Fernand, Danglars, and Villefort would die, them and their children. That's his first desire when he gets out. And then once he sees all of these connections, then he has to amend his plan, because in order to get his full vengeance on Villefort, he has to kill Valentine. Well, in order to have Valentine die, Morel wants to die. And the Morels are what he feels they are his family. So he doesn't want to break that. He doesn't want, to have Maximilian die. So now Valentine has to live. And then he sees Edward die. And then he's like, well, damn, maybe I don't really want a kid to die. Let me see if I can fix this. And it kind of, those events change his own perspective. And then you get to the point where at the end, he's content with Villefort going crazy. And he's content with Danglars living poor. So of the three people, yes.
The part where there are some, I can't recall it exactly, but there are parts where they talk about like the revenge of it. Like, is this God's will? Like the way that religion is throughout the whole the book. I thought that was really fascinating too, because I was like,
yeah,
is he being, in his mind, is he technically being sent to right the wrongs that these people did, and is that some sort of like a good and evil balance type of situation that like he's doing this plan to do that, like to balance it.
Sunshiny. And then because at the end he comes back and says that he's not the hand of God.
Yeah.
in doing that.
Sunshiny,
is this the question you were talking about, Mark?
Was there anything you did not like about this book? I thought it was repetitive at times, but sometimes I appreciated it for catch up.
That has to do, I agree with you, Sunshiny, on the repetitiveness. That's a gorgeous picture, by the way. But I had to remind myself that because it was a serial story, so it was a story that was released over at weeks at a time.
Yeah.
So you had some things that were repetitive, and also it's a story that's over 2 centuries old. So then the dialogue and dialect, the way people talked back then, because the questions, like now these days, somebody asks you a question and you answer it, and they ask you that question 2 more times, they ain't getting the same answer 2 more times.
Yeah, exactly.
But there was a lot of those repeated, questions and things, but I think that plays more to the fact that it was a serialized story and it was re-giving. That's
like
not
catch
how I
up.
want to say that.
Yeah, catch up.
Like previously, it would be the previously on.
Last week in the saga of the Count of Monte Cristo, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't mind the repetitive parts, because I think like I did what you said, which is I realized that, it's kind of normal if it's on a weekly basis, they kind of have to do like a little bit of a repeat, kind of for certain things.
That also did help, since you're reading it over 2 months, like since you're stopping.
Yeah,
I was like, oh yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
What are you gonna say?
And also, authors were paid by the word back then.
Yeah, by the word. Yeah,
they were paid. Right. They were paid by word, not by page. They were paid word for word. So those 3 questions, that's 15 words. That adds to the amount of money that I'm going to be bringing in. So that has something to do with it too.
He was paid a lot for this novel and for
him and Charles Dickens.
The Three Musketeers and the Count of Monte Cristo came out one after the other. So he made a lot of money off of those 2 novels, apparently.
Yes.
Rachel is talking more about like the abridged version. Does not have repetition. Like she asking, did the people who had the abridged version not have the repetition?
I don't know.
I don't think that they did.
I don't know if any of us read.
Yeah, the only person that I know who knew of someone who read the abridged version is Freeform Lady, and
it was really abridged.
It was like 300 something pages.
That was really abridged.
1,200. Yeah, so I would assume that a lot of those repetitive statements were not there, as well as some of the floweriness. I still don't know how to say that word. The paragraphs, some of the paragraphs in the story, some of the descriptions in the story.
I can't even imagine reading this as an abridged version. Like, why?
I low-key want to read the abridged version just to see how different.
I think that would be so disappointed.
I've never read an abridged book before, so
me neither.
Yeah.
She said it's a summary.
That's what I was about to say. It's got to be a summary, because I mean, really 300 words, 300 pages. Come on now, that's missing all the good parts.
Yeah.
It was.
This was a good one from Seriella Alba. Yeah. His relationship with the Morels was really, really special, and it was like they were the father was the only person of the people he was in relationship with who was willing to go in to the Crown Prosecutor's office and plead his case. No one else. His father wasn't able to. Mercedes didn't. Well, they probably wouldn't have listened to her because she was a woman.
She was a woman, and she was young.
Yeah, and she was young. But Morel was the only person who had a relationship with him, who was willing to go and put himself out on a limb and plead his case.
And he was also like the one that tried to save his dad.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. He tried to make him take money.
Book Nerd TV says, I was near tears when the father was saved from his plan of suicide.
Yeah. That was cutting it close. My goodness,
that was beyond. Like,
no,
they
that was
needed,
really
like,
close.
in my head, I'm like, they need a phone.
I mean, like, literally had the gun like there, you know, it was real close. But you know, those are, if you notice, a lot of those kinds of scenes are things that happen still today. A lot of the things you read in the book are things that still happen today. People have the same types of reactions today, and you know that just shows that classics, you know,
still have a place.
they have a place in our libraries, because they're showing us that, you know, these reactions are not just today's reactions. They're the same reactions people had back in the day as well.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people have a lot of trouble with classics, in the sense where they say, "Ah, no, I don't want to read classics. It's too, or it's going to be boring, or the language is going to be hard to follow, or it's going to, you know, not be realistic."
So what if it is?
You know.
So what if it is? Like, legit, that's my response when I hear people say something that's, so what if it is? You don't need to be around people who talk just like you. Have you heard you lately?
Exactly. Yeah, and it's just like, that's what you often hear, that people, they're like, oh no, they're just kind of like down on classics kind of thing. But when you read something like this, and you see that it stands the test of time, that's incredible, you know, because a lot of stuff we read is never going to stand this test of time.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Oh, that's true.
I hate to be negative.
That's a word right there. That is so true. There is so little of what's being written today that's still going to be valid. And you know what? That's a whole soapbox. Nope, I ain't getting on it.
Go off. Go off. Do it.
The reason why is because everyone is so, not everyone, but there are so many authors who are so focused on making cultural references and mentioning this, like it's specific to this artist, it's specific to this movie, it's specific to this thing, because they need to make books relatable so that people will pick them up and read it, versus making it something that could stand the test of time, that instead of speaking to this one particular, instead of just speaking to Avengers Endgame, you can speak to the entire situation that goes on in the Avengers canon. Like, you don't have to say one specific thing to actually pinpoint it to get people where you want them to be.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I'm sorry.
Absolutely.
I feel that in my bones.
Does anyone else have any more notes or whatnot?
Oh,
this is actually really good, about the prison system.
Yeah.
I felt like, even reading it, like this happened centuries ago, I was like, I bet this still happens. Like these type of,
absolutely.
I was like, oh, this hasn't changed.
The French system, like, there you have to prove that you didn't do something. It's not like in the US, where you have to you have to
prove that you did it in the US.
You know, that you didn't do it. And they just changed that part, the aspect of the law, like maybe about 7 years ago or something. They changed it.
In France?
And then France. And keep in mind, they had the guillotine up to like 1970 or something like that.
Yo, the execution scene.
Yeah.
Yo,
because that's a concept. Because, like, you have to realize that now the French are very much into the electrocuting, or
poisoning. Not poisoning, but
injection, lethal injection.
Yeah, that's what it is.
That's a no-go now. They're like, over relief on
that whole execution scene with the cutting of the, first of all, with Peppino being pardoned. Yeah. And then, and I'm sad to say that by the time we come back to Peppino, I had to go back. Thank God I tabbed the book, because I forgot who the fuck Peppino was. And I read that part of the story twice. But that whole execution scene of cutting the man's head off, and then the executioner stepping on his body to make the blood squirt out faster.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this is.
Yeah, but you have to realize that executions were like entertainment.
And I do realize that in some of the other books that I have read, but I'm like, people are still standing
I'll eat later.
How like taken aback Franz was. I was there.
Yeah,
Franz and I were in the same position because I was like, shit, y'all still watching. I'm ready to go.
It's very much entertainment, so that's why he puts that in there. I think it's because that's how it really was.
And so so for them, they were used to seeing it in the blood. And there were people who were like on the front row. Who was the comedian that used to smash the watermelons? Like that's that and you get the spray of the watermelon and the fruit on the front row, and it would get all over your clothes.
What's his name?
Who was that guy?
I know exactly who you're talking about.
Yeah. Like everybody on the front row got blood splatter. And did you go home and wash? Or did you just walk around Carnival for the rest of the day with this blood splatter?
Oh my God.
Oh my gosh.
It says on here Gallagher?
Am I the only person who thought about that?
Well, no, but the thing is, you saw how they reacted. Albert and
Franz.
He almost fainted.
He almost passed out. Yeah.
He was trying to be all hot shot, like, yeah, I want to see my first execution. And then when he was there, I was like, oh shit. And
the Count of Monte Cristo was just chilling.
He was like, okay.
It's just chilling.
Yeah. That was the execution and just the whole political the whole scene, this idea of how easy it was to just frame people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Frame that bitch.
Like you don't have any, but just like it worked to Dantes's detriment at the beginning, it worked in his favor at the end because it's only that letter in writing by a dead man that he forced him to pen that Andrea gets arrested.
They just frame that bitch.
And if you're looking for the letter, you're gonna find it here.
Yeah.
Oh, a letter he never opened.
A lot of framing.
A letter he never wrote. A letter he never read.
Yeah. So he said, I'm gonna use the same tactic. I'm gonna make that work for me.
Here's another one. Fernand was Fernand was a bitch.
Yeah, he was.
That is legit the best way that I could say it. He was betraying everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody. And the fact that he got the luxury of continuing to live, to marry someone who was altruistic and good, and then to have a decent kid, it's mind-boggling to me. Like, how are you even still here?
Get out of the picture so he could marry her.
Yeah. And the fact that was another brother situation. Like, I look at you as my brother. Yeah. Well, you screwed your brother and had your nephew.
Yeah, exactly. Wow. It was awful. He was awful.
Yeah. And I was so happy. Ooh, that sounds really bad. I was happy when he killed himself.
I was kind of happy too, because you think, you kind of think, because you almost feel, the revenge is kind of going slow at one point. You're like, come on, I need a dead body.
Yes. But then when he kills himself, Monte Cristo has a reaction that I didn't expect him to have when he gets word that Morcerf kills himself. He didn't seem happy about it.
Maybe it was the translation.
Okay.
But I got the same reading from you.
Yeah, the same feeling.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know.
It could be the translation, or maybe he felt like he would have preferred him to go out differently.
Or maybe he wanted to do it himself.
Yeah, like he didn't want, because suicide is, he probably at this point, because he's hoping for a good revenge. Suicide is kind of like an escape
from the revenge.
to a certain extent, you know.
Does anyone else have any more notes or whatnot? Because Real Housewives of Atlanta is about to come on, and we gotta be finished by that.
I gotta go. And I gotta put my ass in
like
bed
I'm about to be out.
Real Housewives of Atlanta, Married to Medicine, and then Watchmen. So
yeah, it's midnight, dude. I gotta get to the bed.
Yes. Okay. Anybody else have any other comments or questions or statements?
Yeah, we could start talking about like our overall experience. I'm not gonna lie, this is my favorite book of the year I read. I thought it was incredible.
Yeah, very good.
I just loved it. From the beginning to the end, I was like, oh, this is gonna be A1. And I think this and Dangerous Liaisons, I mean, I think they're going up. For me personally,
so good.
They're going back and forth because I was like, oh my God, these books were just so good. I was like, they're both French too.
Oh. Yeah.
Oh,
if you haven't read that one, I highly recommend Dangerous Liaisons.
I haven't read Dangerous Liaisons yet. I bought it after listening to Michael talk about
especially if you like epistolary format. Get to that.
So good.
So good. That's all I gotta say.
Yes.
Really, really worthwhile.
I literally, as I was reading this, and I was like, well, you can't. First of all, thank you, Dee Dee, for doing this read along, even though I procrastinated like a champ.
No, at one point I was behind. At one point I was behind, then I caught up, then I got ahead, then I got behind, and then I caught up.
I started behind and ended behind.
I was ahead, then I was on time, then I was behind, then I was ahead, so.
Yeah, but this was the only book that was on my TBR for 2020 that I definitely really want. Like I had other things. It was like, if I get to it, great. But I really wanted to get to this. And if it were not for you saying, well, let's do it as a read along, I don't think I would have gotten to it, because I just allowed, even while I was reading it, I read so many other things while I was reading this, and that's why it took me so long. So thank you for doing the read along, Dee Dee. But yeah, I don't think that there's anything that I have read this year that's going to surpass this book. And I'm kind of biased because Alexandre Dumas right now is my shit.
Yeah.
But I don't think if I look back at everything else I've read that it's going to top this.
Yeah, it's been a very good surprise for me too. I expected it to be good, but not this good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I expected it to be good up to a point and fall off a little bit, then come back.
Exactly, because it's 1,200 some pages. Like, well, they're gonna be some dips in this one. There were no dips in this book.
No.
Yeah, I really like
what you said about the writing in the 1800s and the whole serialized novel thing. There's something to be said for it, because they had to have put a lot of thought into what they were putting to make sure that from week to week people were reading the story.
Yeah, it's a really, really good one. So if there's anybody that's in the chat that hasn't read it,
go read it. Go read it yesterday.
Rachel, you need to get it, girl. You're gonna love it.
It's really good.
And don't the movie is so, like, in my opinion, the movie of The Count of Monte Cristo, and the only one I've watched has been the one with Jim Caviezel. The movie is like of The Count of Monte Cristo is like the difference between the book and the movie. It's like the difference between the movie Frankenstein, anyone, and the actual novel Frankenstein. It's like they're so different.
Yeah.
And it's I don't think the movie, after having read the book, I don't think the movie does the book justice.
Is there any any future plans for February for, I'm assuming the next, for Black History Month? I'm assuming this
one for Black History Month. I'm definitely picking a book by what's his name?
Excuse me if you can hear Buffy drinking.
His name. Wait, let me see if I can remember what his name is.
It's a modern, like, it's recent. It's a recent release.
Yeah, it was. I think it was released this year or last year. I can't remember.
We haven't done a recent release.
in a while.
Yeah.
This one, I picked it because of the author. His name is Leonard J. Pitts, I think is his name.
Leonard. What book did he write?
What's that coming up?
Let me see if I can think of the name of the
The Last Thing You Surrender?
Oh, wait.
Or Freeman?
No, the other one.
The Last Thing You Surrender?
Yeah, I think this one.
Oh, this came out this year.
Yeah, that one.
The Last Thing You Surrender, a novel of World War II.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
What?
Yeah.
World War II.
It's World War II. It says Jim Crow South, World War II changes, triggers in the United States. Okay.
Yeah.
Why did you choose them?
I chose that one because I think he's like a writer that people.
I've never heard of him before.
I never heard of this.
I haven't heard of him, and I've only heard good things about his writing. And we need to do a man. We haven't done we
haven't done a man since Bedrock Faith.
Yes.
No, wait. Faith. No, not for February. I was going to say Coastal Whitehead, but he was the summer.
No, I mean February. Yeah. So I thought this one would be a good one to start with.
Okay.
So that's the read along for February.
Put it on your
you heard
Christmas
it here.
list
Put it on
your holiday
Christmas list.
Your holiday
put
wish
it in
list.
Your Amazon card. See if it's on.
Get it.
Put your wish list on the internet so that way strangers can buy it for you.
Don't do that. I don't do that.
Oh, so Rosa said she read it. She read Freeman before, and it was excellent. Looking forward to this.
She liked Freeman.
Great.
Yeah. So it's just he's one of those writers that some people have read, and the people that have read his books, they really, really like him.
Really liked it.
Yeah.
And it's under 500 pages, so it's not that long.
Yeah, we're good.
It's not that long.
No,
okay.
Yeah, well, we can make it. Come on, we can make it. We did 1,000.
Yes, we can. Y'all, I need all of you who have read this book, because y'all know I'm quick to read a tome. Everybody who has read this book, please know and remember, you read a 1,274-page novel. You can read literally anything.
Absolutely.
After I finished this, like when I tell you I felt so powerful, like turning that last page, I was like, oh my gosh. I feel so good.
Last year, what was it you read? Like that big, huge one you were reading?
Was that the new
Negro? Well,
the
Alan Locke by Billy. I don't know.
And that was nonfiction.
Yeah, that was okay. Yeah.
So we count that as equal. Like that was 12. That was nonfiction. That's
like not even the same thing. That's like a lot worse.
Yeah.
I forgot how long that book read really fast though. I'm not gonna lie, but probably because it was so readable, and I just kept wanting to read it, and so it didn't feel long.
Yeah, so that was only. If you read this, you can read anything. You can read anything.
Yeah. That was only 944 pages, so this one beats it.
Only 944 pages.
Only nonfiction.
Nonfiction is
half.
Like
long. Since this is nonfiction, 200 pages were basically bibliography. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like I remember it being like, oh, it's not that long, but I would highly I recommend that book. I loved it. It was fantastic. So it's up there in my opinion with The Warmth of Other Suns that I've read before. I was like,
I haven't read that yet.
The Warmth of Other Suns?
Don't even, Dee. Don't even, Dee. I haven't read it.
You better read that. You're going to make me mad if you don't read that.
I'm always scared to admit that I haven't read it because I can feel the death stare through the internet.
But this.
You better read that.
You got it?
Yeah,
I got it.
I'm going to put it up as soon as you hit enter.
Oh.
So I'll put it up on the Instagram for those who have an Instagram. I'll put it up so people can start, if they want to acquire it or ask if they have it at their local library or whatever. So I will,
maybe it'd be nice to read. Well, for me personally, maybe read another one of his books because it looks like he wrote several other ones.
He's got some nonfiction too.
Oh.
I think the one that people know him for the most is
Freeman.
Freeman. Yeah, Freeman.
Yeah, I think that was.
So. I think it's Freeman is the one that people. That's this one.
Grant Park is also another one. That he looks like he wrote. It looks like he only wrote. Oh, okay, yeah.
Before I forget, Grant Park. Forward from this moment, the columns of Leonard Pitts Jr.
Yeah, that's his nonfiction, and then also Becoming Dad: Black Men in the Journey to Fatherhood.
That sounds like and then there's Racism in America: Cultural Codes and Color Lines in the 21st
Wait, that's
century.
not listed on here. Wikipedia, get your shit together.
And Bob Hope. He wrote a book about Bob Hope. These are like all like he did one on Stevie Wonder, Mr. Wonderful, Stevie Wonder, and Reach Out, the Diana Ross story.
Oh wow.
Glamour Girls of Hollywood.
I'm putting this on blast, so I'm not the only so someone else can get the death stare.
Girl, I'm in a death stare if you haven't read that book yet. I'll be rereading it next year because I'm a book clubber reading it. So I'll read it.
Right, I remember that from the list. Yeah.
I'll read it the second time, and I can't wait. Can't wait.
Yes, right. Ma'am. Book Nerd TV and Dee and Freeform Lady. I got it.
Great. It's great. It's nonfiction, but I feel like nonfiction.
I own it. I have it downstairs. I bought it this year. I have it downstairs.
Doesn't feel like nonfiction. You're gonna love it. I promise you're gonna love it.
I believe
so
you.
Good.
I bought it for myself, and I bought it for a friend of mine who wants to get more into reading our story, which made me excited. I was like, "Well, fuck it, you getting this big ass book?"
No, but yeah. So I think we can close it down. So Michael can go watch.
Watch his reality TV. I was worried about getting off in time to go to make sure I watch my Hallmark movie, but Michael, you saved me.
No, you guys are good. You gonna watch a Hallmark, and I'm gonna slide into the bed and go to sleep.
Yes, go to sleep. Go to sleep. Well, you don't have a client tomorrow.
No, in the morning, but I got clients in the afternoon. So
okay.
Yeah, it's one of those days. No client. Yeah, the client she canceled, but she can't. She got to get it together. We got to get her together.
Thank you, Season We Moon. All righty, y'all. Well, we are going to let everybody go. Thank y'all for joining. Bye-bye.
It's a pleasure. Ciao.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Let's say bye.
All right. I clicked in broadcast and